Hello and welcome to a Pittsburgh Sports Memories current events podcast. Now that the season's over for the Pittsburgh Steelers, we're just kind of going back to our normal schedule. We will resume our normally scheduled programming. I'm your co-host Steve Wirt, and I'm joined by.
Hey everybody, I'm Tim Hannon.
So first off, Tim, we'll start with hockey. Yay, hockey! Got to do that hockey. The Penguins, last time we were looking at them, they were out of the playoffs. They've gone on a bit of a tear, so now they're back into the playoffs, like second in their division. Can you believe it, Tim? Wow. So, it doesn't take that much in the Eastern Conference because there isn't that much separation. So, and like I said, the looks like the role players are really coming through. Sid and the Genos don't have to carry the team as much. So I don't know, Tim. It looks like. Do you think the Penguins are going to make the playoffs?
At this rate, I mean, hard to say that they won't. And
I mean, we're halfway through the winter almost, so they got a good shot, right?
they do, and it's tough now because do you, if you're
Well,
the
I think
Penguins,
they can't tank they're beyond tanking now. They've played too well.
right, right, they're beyond tanking, but I don't think they're quite to the point of like make a huge, draft deadline day trade. They're kind of in the middle, so it'll be interesting to see what they decide. Like Panarin for the Rangers. Their Rangers are going to trade him, and my first thought was like, oh my gosh, that'd be so cool to like maybe go out and get him, especially after he killed us for so many years. But then it's like no, because then you're going to be in a bidding war, and that's not the strategy. We're trying to get away from that strategy. So maybe the Penguins just need to go with who they got and see how far they get. And if it's a first round loss, so be it. It's still way better than anybody thought that they would do.
That sounds like the reasonable solution, but people get impatient. You never know. But stick to the plan. Stick to the plan.
Yep.
Next up, so I was driving through the south side the other day, and I did drive past the Steelers practice facility, and I saw the white smoke coming out of the chimney, and that signified that the Steelers have picked a new head coach, Tim. So very, very, very Vatican-like over there. And that person is identified as Mr. Mike McCarthy, Pope Benedict, Steelers head coach. The whatever. How many is this for them in the history of the team? Do we have any clue?
17th.
17th. Is that it overall? Wow.
Yeah.
In the fourth one since 1969. Yay us.
Yes.
What the Browns have had probably 17 since just last Tuesday. So. Mike McCarthy, he beat the Steelers when he coached Green Bay, way back in Super Bowl 45, and he's been kind of bounced around. He does have a history with Aaron Rodgers. He was in Dallas. He kind of made, I guess, he helped Dak Prescott, improve. So that's kind of why he's been brought in to develop a quarterback somewhere. I'm not sure what to say about Mike McCarthy. He's from Greenfield. He was a coaching assistant at Pitt, if I remember correctly. He also took tickets on the Turnpike, worked as a Turnpike ticket taker, a job that doesn't exist anymore. Boy, robots have replaced us all. How long before robots are coaching in the NFL, huh?
He was also a bouncer at Chauncey's.
No, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, nice. There's a blast. I don't think Chauncey's around anymore.
Oh no, Chauncey's is long gone.
None of the kids go out and do any fun stuff like that. So maybe they have robot bouncers at Chauncey's.
There you go.
Another job that was replaced.
So were you excited about the hire, Steve? Or were you angry like everybody else?
I think it smacks of sheer desperation, like the rest of everything the Steelers have been doing. It just seems kind of par for the course because, like, it just seems like everything they're doing is to squeeze out one last championship before Art Rooney the second shuffles off the team's control to is his son name? What is his son's
Dan.
name? Dan. Oh, jeez. Yeah. Won't be confusing at all, Tim.
Yes. Yeah.
Can we come up with a name besides Art or Dan, please? But I really think that's what this is. I think Art's desperate for a championship, and Mike Tomlin kind of was trying to accommodate that at the end of his tenure here. And Mike Tomlin has retired. Mike McCarthy is in, and Much like George Washington said when he left the presidency, I am rightly out and you were rightly in, and we'll see who's the happier, right?
I think that yeah, I mean everybody I did not like it at first. I really wanted like one of the Rams guys or like a Kyle Shanahan disciple, somebody that was going to move the team into kind of like the 21st century a little bit and just kind of start over with somebody young like they did when they hired Tomlin or Cower or Knoll. So it was really shocking to see them hire, a retread 62-year-old coach. And I don't know. I feel like this go down two paths, Steve. Like if the point of all of this is to develop a quarterback, whether it's Will Howard or, a draft pick or whoever, which, to be fair, McCarthy is unquestionably very, very good at that. Then he could serve as a bridge to get them a franchise quarterback, still keep the team competitive because that's obviously what the Steelers want. And that would have been a tall order for, like a Nate Fieldhouse, like the guy that, that they were interviewing from the Rams who never had been a coordinator and was like 34 years old. So I think that's still conservative, but I could see that as a path. If the point of all this was to like run it back because Rooney stupidly thinks we're legit contenders with the current roster, and they do everything they can to convince Rodgers to come back, and then they, hire retreads at all the coaching positions to maintain stability. That's where I think people are going to be right about this was a terrible move.
Maybe they'll let McCarthy, because like that's been another problem over the last couple of years, is like there really hasn't been any good young coaching blood come up through the assistant coaches.
No, because that's not who the Steelers have hired. They haven't tried to hire those types of coaches.
But that's Mike Tomlin. So maybe Mike McCarthy will do stuff different. That's
maybe, or maybe he'll just get his old gang back together from Green Bay and Dallas, which seems like what he's doing so far. But again, that might not be terrible either. I just
it'll be different, that's for sure.
This town, the Steelers, the fan base just so desperately wants to move forward. We just want to move forward. We're done with all the seasons of, veteran quarterbacks and get to the playoffs and lose in the first round. We just want to move forward with something new and fresh. And Mike McCarthy does not represent that.
3 wins might be new and fresh.
Yeah, and that's a problem. They won't be. Mike McCarthy's not going to be a 3-win coach. He's going to be, potentially like another Tomlin, where he'll probably keep the team competitive. Again, the X factor is quarterback. If McCarthy can come in and develop a quarterback for the future, then it's worth it. I don't care if they never win a Super Bowl under McCarthy. If he gets them a franchise quarterback and he's gone in 5 years, McCarthy is, then he did his job, right? And if you're looking for precedent, Steve, the Denver Broncos tried the same thing whenever, a few years ago. No, 3 years ago. They hired a retread coach in Sean Payton, who was very similar to Tomlin, right? Won a Super Bowl early, could never get the Saints back to a Super Bowl. And they hired him, and look, they were 1 game away from the Super Bowl this year. Andy Reid was a retread coach who, same as Tomlin, couldn't quite get over the hump. But both of those guys found franchise quarterbacks. So if Mike McCarthy can do the same thing, then I don't know, maybe it works.
So you believe in McCarthyism. There you go.
I don't believe in I still don't think this was the right hire. I would have rather seen them go after
a young guy like they normally do.
Yeah. And just start fresh. But again, what they said was, it made me feel a little better when Rooney came out and basically said the point of all this is to, develop the quarterback of the future, which I think makes sense.
He also said he didn't care if they won the press conference or not, which I respect that. And he doesn't care about the noise, which is what he should. He shouldn't care about what people say. You have to run your team and what you think is right for your team. So, but I just think the motivation is causing panic, and everything he does seems like a panic move to me. He's like a very we got to win a Super Bowl now, and they're just not there. Instead of being like when you make panic moves, it just never seems to work out. Rather than having a plan and sticking to it and dealing with the bumps along the way. And if a situation presents itself, and you can there's three quarterbacks. There's Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, and Ben Roethlisberger. You can get one of those guys, then get them. But I don't know. We'll see how it all plays off. That's the one thing about great about sports. You never know. So maybe Matthew Stafford will be a Pittsburgh Steeler by the end of next week. Who knows?
Yeah, I think to your point, Steve, that's the thing. It's hard to gauge, is this a panic move or not? Because again,
I feel like it is. In my opinion, I think it has been for the last 2 or 3 years. It's just been, oh my gosh, we need this. Oh, let's trade Minka. Oh, let's do this. Oh, let's do that. Like, we're just trying to get Cam Hayward and TJ Watt a Super Bowl ring or a playoff win or whatever. And it's not been, hey, we just need to build the team and keep stocking talent.
Yeah, I think a lot of the moves the last few years have been around that, but I think also during the same time they've stockpiled. They traded away their best receiver for draft picks. They have a bunch of draft picks heading into next year's draft, and the draft after that, they've drafted well in the last few drafts as well.
Well, they've been trying to get rid of the mistakes of the past, like the guys with the character issues.
Yeah. So they're kind of doing it a little bit like, again, the Steelers. We talked about this in the other episode we did. Steelers are never going to be that. Suck so bad that we only win 2 games and have the number 1 draft pick. The Steelers are just never going to be that team. But they've had plenty of success in the past.
Watch and wait. Yeah.
Yeah. See, they won't though.
I don't know. I mean, I think you're right. I gotta agree. I mean, they probably won't be that bad.
No, they won't. Again, it all comes down to quarterback because, like I said, like Bill Belichick's a genius. Andy Reid's a genius. But if those guys didn't have Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, actually, we've seen what happens.
Yeah.
When those guys don't have Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, they're not winners. But with the right quarterback there, Bill Cowher without Ben Roethlisberger, Mike Tomlin without Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
So you have to have a quarterback. So that's really what it all comes down to, is a quarterback.
Well, moving on to where you're talking about Hall of Fame quarterbacks. You want to talk about the Hall of Fame, Tim? I think I've come over to like the Mario Lemieux. I don't really care about anything that's voted on anymore. I mean, it just doesn't seem like it matters. So what happened? Who are do we know the Hall of Fame nominees? Did anybody look them up?
Well, there's 2 different classes. There's when a coach, you're going to talk about Belichick, right?
Yeah.
When a coach gets elected, he's not up against players. He's up against senior committee members, GMs, other coaches. There's a different class for that. So Bill Belichick wasn't going up against Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, so they're saying the first year eligible are Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Frank Gore, Jason Witten. And then there's the returning finalists like Eli Manning. Okay, Luke Kuechly's not going to make it. Adam Vinatieri might make it.
Those are players.
Yeah.
That's Bill Belichick is not in that group because it's a different set of group and a different set of votes.
How many, I figured how many they have to elect, 6? They can elect up to 6 or something.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the point being, they didn't elect Belichick, which is just a joke.
Well, it doesn't, this is a case of, it doesn't really do them any good to their credibility. They think these are the writers, and if it's still, I haven't looked at it in a while, but it used to be, it was a writer from every city that had a NFL team. So Ed Bouchette used to be the guy from Pittsburgh, and then there was 5 other guys that were respected, like Peter King, whoever was writing for USA Today at the time. So you would have the guy from Boston, the guy from Pittsburgh, the guy from Cleveland, the guy from LA, the guy from Seattle, Miami, blah, blah, blah. And you would have a couple other guys that were more national guys, and they would get in the room and they would debate. And it's tough to you lose your credibility when you do stuff like this. So you're saying there's 2 different groups. There's the players group, and then there's the owner/coaches group, and then they come
and contributors. Like that's where Steve Sable got elected out of that group. People like that,
right? I want to say Burt Bell, but Burt Bell was an owner, or like who was the original
commissioners? Yeah, right.
Who was
right.
the original
Roselle,
commissioner?
Pete Roselle.
Roselle,
yeah, people like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
and you need
just,
40 out of 50 votes.
Right.
So there's 50 voters for that, and you need 40 of them to say yes.
Yeah, because like there's obviously the 32 teams.
Yeah, there's
32 teams, and then 18 at law, like just 18 writers.
Yeah, like you said, like the Peter King type people. Yeah.
I don't know if he's still a voter or not, or I don't know. They might have let Ed Bouchette keep his vote, even though he doesn't write for the Post-Gazette anymore. But I would trust Ed Bouchette. But I think what happened was, and I think, I was saying this to Tim before we started recording this doesn't bode well for Ben Roethlisberger. What happened was Bill Belichick didn't make the final cut. And like I said, that doesn't help with their credibility. It just makes them look petty and small. And the reason they did it was because in every press conference, Bill Belichick would just get up there and give half-assed answers, not answer the question, just, I don't know, lie, do all that silliness just because he didn't want to give what he thought would be a competitive advantage to the team, or he just didn't want to be bothered with giving an interview. Well, Bill, it's the same kind of philosophy that Marshawn Lynch had, that Sterling Sharp had, and it's very disingenuous when those guys, like, remember Marshawn Lynch went to that one Super Bowl and was like, I'm just here so I don't get fined. I'm sorry, Marshawn, when you signed your contract for $3 million for that year, it included doing interviews for the Super Bowl. So you are getting paid. You got paid $3 million to do this interview, actually. And I would say the same thing to Bill. When you're in those, whatever you made that meal from Robert Kraft, you got paid to do this. This is part of the job. This isn't just like, oh, I'm at a charity event and I decided to talk to a reporter. If you don't want to give an answer there, fine. But this is required. You don't like it, talk to Commissioner Goodell and tell him to get rid of it. That's who's doing this, not, and don't blame the writers. They're just there to get a story. And yeah, sometimes they're sleazy and they make stuff up out of nothing, and I get it. But it doesn't. They both are wrong. Number one, the writers, you look like an idiot. You have no credibility. Why would I believe anything you say about football if you don't think Bill Belichick belongs in the Hall of Fame on the first ballot? Like, who is more deserving than him? Yeah. Who are you putting in over him? That's crazy. And that's why I think Ben Roethlisberger is not going to get in on his first vote, because, once again, he's not a very popular player because of all that stuff he did in his past. And that's why Ben can't get on the media. That's why Ben has to do his own little podcast. And I'm sorry, and I don't respect – that's why I said I don't respect Marshawn Lynch. I don't respect – I mean, I liked Sterling Sharp as a player, and I even liked him in the media, but it was like he never liked to talk to the media. It's like you can't have it both ways.
Yeah. I mean, you're right that like Belichick deserves blame separately for, treating the media like it's, a frustration and I shouldn't have to do this. And same with Marshawn Lynch and all the other guys. And at the same time, that should have absolutely zero bearing whatsoever on a Hall of Fame vote, because the Hall of Fame is about what you did in your career.
Here's like Steve Carlton. Hated talking to the media. Steve Carlton never did a media show, never talked to anybody. Yeah. Great. I get it. Marshawn Lynch just didn't want to talk to that media. He just wanted to do it on his own terms. And the same thing with this piece of crap, Bill Belichick. And he is. He's a sleazebag.
That's fine. That's
great. Be a sleazebag. You're a good football coach. That doesn't mean you don't deserve to be in the NFL Hall of Fame. You're one of the best to ever do it. But you're still a sleazy sleazebag that doesn't want to answer any tough questions. And I'm almost there with Mike Tomlin, too, on this, not giving, like, Mike Tomlin just wants to handpick who he goes in front of and who he talks to, and he doesn't want to answer a tough question. Same thing with Brady did that, too, with Jim Gray. You remember he used to give his own little interviews with Jim Gray, and Jim Gray would just sit there, oh, Tom, tell me about what size shoe you're wearing today.
But that's a different, like you said, that's a different argument. Like, if you want to say that guys shouldn't do that and guys should be held to a different standard, again, totally agree. It has absolutely, positively zero bearing, or should have zero bearing on a Hall of Fame. Is, what was this guy's track record in the sport that they played or coached in? And that's like to your point about voting for stuff. That's what's so bad about voting for stuff. It's like the year that Mario Lemieux outscored Wayne Gretzky by 30 goals and didn't get the MVP because they liked Wayne Gretzky better. That's like you said,
That's fine.
credibility's out the
It,
window.
it's your Hall of Fame. You can do whatever you want with it. You can let whoever you want in. And you remember they didn't let in Terrell Owens for
Yeah, that
like
was
3 years
another joke. Yeah, for the
because
same
because they
reason.
because they
They
didn't
didn't
like
like him. Yeah.
because he worked out in his what
I didn't
he
like him
showed
either.
up Andy Reid in Philadelphia
Yeah,
and worked out.
he wasn't a good teammate.
Yeah.
He was a jerk. He was flamboyant, and he should have been in the Hall of Fame on his first ballot. Like both things can be true at the same time.
Remember, he stuck it to them too. He
Yeah,
wouldn't go.
yeah,
I kind of hope, and I don't think Belichick. I was kind of hope he gets petty because he can be petty like this. I hope he doesn't go like, no, I'm not going to show up, and you can't use my name. Can't use my name. Can't induct me. Can't do anything with it, and I'll sue you if you do. You know, but make it a pain in the butt. Like if you do it, I'm going to send a cease and desist letter. Make the NFL sue you over it. See how serious they are now about it.
yeah.
You know?
It's ridiculous. You shouldn't. Again, that's a problem when you have people vote. The Baseball Hall of Fame's even dumber.
Well, like people like voted. Who was the one who didn't get all the votes?
Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, and like, well, I'm standing up for the what are the Negro League players that didn't get in.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah.
I forget. People are giving like weird like responses, like that was for Pete Rose or Shoeless Joe Jackson or something stupid. It was like you're voting on Ken Griffey Jr., not Pete Rose or Shoeless Joe Jackson, who are both now eligible for the Major League Baseball.
You should really it should almost be like you talked about robots before. It should be like it should be fed into a computer, not like just.
But that could even be like biased depending how you program it.
It could be, but my goodness, like I trust the computer at this point over people that don't think Bill Belichick's a Hall of Fame coach. Sorry, like you said, credibility's completely shot.
Well, they think he is one. They just want to get him back for Spygate. Not even for Spygate. I don't even think they care about Spygate.
No,
I think it's just I asked Bill Belichick a question in a press conference, and he blew me off. And now's my time. Now it's payback time.
Bill Belichick could have, even before the Patriots. Everybody forgets that too. Bill Belichick.
He had 2 Super Bowls.
And that 1990 season where he beat Joe Montana in the championship game and then beat the Buffalo Bills, who were the best offense, one of the best offenses in history, in the Super Bowl. And they literally have his game plan from that Super Bowl in the Hall of Fame on display. And that was even before he coached the Patriots, like to 6 Super Bowl wins. So it's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's, again, like I hate this whole, like you said, anytime somebody votes on something, it's ridiculous. If a team wins, people will be like, oh, they didn't play a tough schedule, or they got lucky in this game, or this player got hurt, but whatever, they won. You can't really debate that at the end of the day. This stuff where we vote for awards or Hall of Fame enshrinements, and it's inevitable that ridiculous stuff like this is going to happen.
That's why college football had it right for all those years when they voted for a national champion.
Yeah, exactly. What a great idea that was. That worked out very well. Never had any shred of controversy.
I mean, that year Colorado and Georgia Tech were co-national champions. Colorado definitely would have beat Georgia Tech that year. But I mean, I just really feel strongly about that. Maybe I'm just a fan, and I give my own fan perspective. It's definitely I have my biases, and I think that's another thing that annoys people is like there's media. I remember that one guy used to host Sports Center, like it was him and Jamel Hill. And he was like, well, I'm unbiased because I was from New Orleans and I never even was a Saints fan. I was like, but you probably have people that you like interacting and people you don't like interacting with. It's just human nature. There's people you're going to get along with. There's people you're not going to get along with, people you find engaging, people you find boring. And it's just, I don't know what to say about it. It's impossible. Like, if you like Coke over Pepsi, that's a bias against Pepsi, right? It's just, It is. Thank God we don't vote on like an important position to run our country like this, right?
Feed that into a computer too.
Maybe we should just go back to old school kings and dictators. That worked well. That worked so well. Well, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it, Tim, except for, I think you or me could run the Hall of Fame as well as anybody else at this point. I mean, how do we fix this? Let's come on. Let's help.
I already gave you an answer to that. You run
just feed it in the computer. Well, how about this? How we keep the voting, but we have the public nominates the voters, and then the owners get a partial percentage of the vote. The writers get a percentage of the vote, or something like that. And then at the end, whoever gets the most votes wins. I mean, at least then you would get more like you would kind of because remember that one year, the fans tried to put somebody into the NHL All-Star game, like Rory Gilmore or somebody stupid. They were like, oh, we just want to be funny. Ha ha ha. If you put the writers and owners as the final bulwark against that, you can eliminate some of that silliness where I'm going to nominate who would be a stupid candidate for the NFL Hall of Fame. I don't know.
Jason Worlds.
Yeah. Or something. Yeah. Alonzo Jackson. Yeah. Never played a down of football.
So maybe you could have some kind of audit thing where, after they make the selections, you talked about the presidency, maybe there needs to be a Supreme Court kind of thing that can overturn it. Maybe something like that. I don't know. Then
you're giving too much. I just think if you split it up equally between coaches and owners, reporters, and the public, you would probably get a better consensus of Hall of Fame.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I mean, who do you want in the Hall of Fame? Don't you want people to come visit your Hall of Fame? I was thinking maybe Belichick could be really petty and just make his own little personal Bill Belichick Hall of Fame. Doesn't Richard Petty have that in NASCAR? Isn't there a Richard Petty, his own little Hall of Fame or something? Come to Foxborough, Massachusetts and see the Bill Belichick Hall of Fame. Yay! Don't steal any of our prices, though, or I don't know what you could steal from that.
His girlfriend could be the tour guide.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's all the ideas we have, Tim. Anything else we want to fix? World peace, world hunger? I don't know.
We'll save that for next month's episode.
Yeah, we did enough work today. Well, I appreciate that. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram and tell us how we could better fix the Hall of Fame so that Bill Belichick, poor Bill, mistreated Bill Belichick, who's married to a 24-year-old supermodel. It makes millions of dollars a year. Boy, that guy's really got it tough, doesn't he, Tim?
Yeah, he definitely needs us to stick up for him. That's the worst thing. We're sitting here defending Bill Belichick.
We appreciate you guys all checking in. Leave us comments, and we'll catch you next time on Pittsburgh Sports Memories.